Hello and welcome to South Florida, Boca Raton, beach at the end of Palmetto Park Road. We'll be starting here shortly. Wow, looks like some rain going on there. And we'll be sharing some insights as it hit me this morning, 24 years ago. Today, I had just gotten off the bus at Parris Island, South Carolina. So let me switch it around. 24 years ago, I was 20 years old, thought I knew it all, and joined the Marine Corps at 20 years old. Had no intentions as a high schooler or as a teenager of joining the military. It was by chance that I finally realized if nothing changes, nothing changes. First lesson is I was working at a factory. Hey Denise, all the way from the Netherlands. Good to see you here. I was working at a factory. Jim, Semper Fi. Yeah, you remember that day too. But here's how I got into the Marine Corps. It wasn't, I was proactively looking for it. It's far from that. I was not. I was actually drifting through life. And after being a national bicycle champion, where I was doing tricks on bikes and signing autographs, had sponsors and all sorts of things, my mom had a divorce, and she was the team, she was leading the team basically. So she's the one that got all the sponsors for us, and that team kind of fell apart. Kathleen, what's happening? Aunt Kathleen. So when the team of my bicycle adventures broke apart, and that last marriage broke apart of my mother's, we moved to a different place, and things just weren't at an ideal scenario for me. You know, I went from signing autographs and being that national bicycle champion to now working at a factory called Ultrafab up in Farmington, New York. And I was doing well, what I thought was well. Yeah, good to see you as well. I see your picture anyhow. And working at Ultrafab, I was working the 3 to 11 shift, and many times would work the 11 to 7 a.m. shift as well. And life was just work and sleep pretty much. And there came a point when I was speaking apparently over lunch, which was sometime in the evening. One of the higher ups overheard it, and he heard me saying that I was about to move out from my dad's, about to get a new car, and go get a place to rent of my own. And he pulled me aside, and I'm thankful for him pulling me aside. I don't remember his name. He said, "Hey man, you're too good to be here." And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, you don't want to be here. He's like, I said, I like it here. What, I'm not good enough? Like, I'm doing a pretty good job. He said, I've been here. He's like, you remind me of myself. I was here 20 years ago, and I too moved out of my parents' house, got a new car, got a new apartment, and next thing you know, 20 years goes by. And here I still am. Do you want to be here 20 years from now? And I had never thought of that. And until he asked that question, I didn't come up with the answer. I said, no, I don't want to be here 20 years from now. And guess what? If nothing changes, nothing changes. So I took that to heart and didn't really know what was going to happen, but it planted a seed in me to explore. So in that exploration, I got a job at the mall, Eastview Mall, and I got a job at the clothing store. I can't remember the name of the clothing store off the top of my head, but it was a hip-hop clothing store, whatever. Yeah, 24 years. My pleasure, Michael. Thank you. And I'm working at this clothing store, and a Marine came through. A Marine recruiter came through, and he said, "Hey, are you happy?" And for those who met me and know me over the years, I'm a fairly happy person. But fortunately, at this particular juncture, due to what my coworker had told me, like, you don't belong here, do you want to be here 20 years from now? And me exploring and going to that second job at the mall, I answered the Marine Corps recruiter, not in my normal, yeah, things are good, or life is good, but I said, you know what? No, I'm not really happy. He said, do you like to travel? He's a salesman. I said, yeah, I love to travel. He's like, did you play any sports in high school? I said, yeah, I wrestled. He's like, how would you like to travel the world wrestling for the United States Marine Corps? I said, sold. Let's do this. So long story short, that was in the end of 1992. He's like, come to my office. Let's sit down and chat. So within 30 days, I had resigned from my work at Ultrafab and my work at the mall at the clothing store, and told them both that I had just signed up for the Marine Corps. I hadn't told my parents. I just decided I needed to make a change. The answer to that coworker's question, do you want to be here 20 years from now, was a resounding no. And I knew that if nothing changed, nothing was going to change. So I quit both those jobs, signed up in the Marine Corps, and was off to Parris Island. Now, Eastview Mall, yes, absolutely. Doug, what's happening? So this was the day that I went from Rochester to Buffalo and caught a plane down to South Carolina, got on the bus, and was dropped off at Parris Island, which is the Marine Corps recruit station for the Marine Corps. And never met a Marine who regretted joining. It's my only regret. And by no stretch of the imagination am I regretting joining, but little did I know what I was getting into. It's kind of like that Goldie Hawn movie of back in the day when she joined and she's in boot camp. She's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't sign up for this boot camp. I signed up for the one with all the fun things. Boot camp is no joke. And the Marine Corps boot camp is 3 months long, and some people have a name for it. It's a living hell. And I can attest, it's a real difficult challenge, but that's what turns you into the punk kid into a warrior in 3 months. So I got there, and holy cow, I felt like Goldie Hawn. I was like, this is not what I signed up for. I really don't want to be here. And you know, you weigh the options. Can I break out of here? Parris Island is an island, and it's got gators around it and stuff. And some people try, but they always get caught. And in my platoon, we started out with 84 people from all over. Yeah, that's the Air Force for sure. We started out with 84 people from all over the states, and some people that were actually international that were in my platoon. And we ended up graduating about 63 of the 84 in that 3-month period. Now, in that 3-month period, I had no idea what was going on. I just knew no matter what I did, I was getting yelled at. So I knew it was a mental game. No matter how quick I did things, no matter how fast, no matter how awesome I did it, I was always going to get yelled at and was told I was a piece of crap. So I figured out that mental game and realized, all right, don't look for praise, don't look for approbation, don't look for a pat on the back. Look to get screamed at no matter what you do. Yet if you do things not as fast as you're capable of, you're going to be screamed at more excessively. So I was just doing what I could do to hopefully not draw enough attention to me and just do what I do. And in that, I ended up being the guide about halfway through. So about a month and a half through boot camp, I was the guide, which means I was the one leading the platoon. And by leading it, I would have meetings with them in the evening and say, look, I need you all to do your best. And guess what? At this point, halfway through, if you mess up, I'm the one getting punished. I'm willing to get punished if you're giving your all. If you're not giving your all and I'm getting punished for you slacking, we're going to have problems later on. And I would rally the team together, rally the platoon together, and basically say, look, we got this mission to accomplish, and we aren't going to accomplish it if we can't work like a fine-tuned unit. So we all need to be on the same page. We all need to get over the inner fighting, the inner egos that are there, and we all just need to do our very best. And I'm willing to take the penalty and pay the price if you're giving your all. But we're going to have some problems if you're not giving your all. And long story short, fast forward the rest of the platoon, or rest of boot camp, the platoon ended up winning all that is capable of being won, called a clean sweep of the trophies. The trophies you can win are drill. So the drill, I was the guide with the guide on and whatnot, and you know, we had rifles and we're doing the drill. We practiced hard and we won the drill. We also won the physical fitness test, PFT, as it's known in the Marine Corps, and we were the highest average PFT of all the other platoons. And we also won the actual testing. There's actually knowledge that you get tested on. So we did a clean sweep of the towers that are things that you're capable of winning as a platoon. Together, we all won. And individually, I was leading by example. I was the platoon high shooter. I was the platoon high PFTer. I was the platoon guide. I was the platoon honor man. And it was not something that came easily. It was not something I even wanted or had as a goal. I was just doing my best. And it reminds me now, 24 years looking back, of the 4 agreements, the book by Don Miguel Ruiz. The 4 agreements are: 1, always be impeccable with your word; 2, never make assumptions; 3, never take anything personally; and 4, always do your very best. So at that point in time, I had no idea that there even was an honor grad or an honor man chosen. I was just doing my best and doing what I could to be the leader and not get punished, right? But I did get punished a lot, and it really fell on my shoulder. So at that point, when I became the guide, when anyone else messed up, I was the one that got punished. I took all of the heat, the push-ups, the being in the sand, being in the pit, the extra running, the extra harassment and treatment. I took it. And that's led to being a leader out in the real world. And there was a point when I was considering being a lifer, staying in the Marine Corps for a career. And then after halfway point, I decided, you know what, it's time for me to do what's mine to do in this 4 years of active duty. Get out. I think I have more to accomplish. And since then, you know, that's been the case. And the things that I learned in the Marine Corps, I've been able to share even subconsciously with many people throughout the globe in many of the presentations and speeches that I've done face-to-face and here in this type of format. For instance, there's 14 leadership traits that they taught me in the Marine Corps. And here they are. You ready? Judgment, justice, decisiveness, integrity, dependability, tact, initiative, enthusiasm, bearing, unselfishness, courage, knowledge, loyalty, and endurance. And I would highly recommend writing this down. JJ did tie buckle. Go Google JJ, the letters, JJ did tie buckle. Those are the 14 leadership traits that I remember from 14 years ago being ingrained into my mind. And one of my first websites was called Set the Example. And that was where Jeffrey Gitomer, when I was meeting with him, New York Times bestselling author of all time for sales, he's like, you really got the balls to have a site called Set the Example? I said, yeah, I'm not perfect in every area, but I lead by example in most cases. And he's like, all right, man, if you got the kahunas to claim it, go do it. But leading and being someone who sets the example was something that I carried through from the Marine Corps into my sales positions that I held and my sales manager positions that I held, and as a trainer and speaker throughout the globe. So I don't regret that decision at all. Actually, looking back 24 years, I'm thankful that that Marine Corps recruiter in my path crossed, because I could have very well been in that factory 24 years later, just like he was and many others were. Not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I knew I had a bigger vision. I knew I had to break free of the roots of upstate New York, which I love dearly and love going back to, but I love traveling the world and living, you know, not around here more than shoveling snow at this particular time in the year. That's just me personally. Semper Fi, Sean, and Molmans, well done. So 24 years ago, man, a lot's happened. And guess what? I'm happy that it really struck me that today is the 24 anniversary of that. Talis, I know you're, what, 19, 20 years old right now. I was 24 years ago, and it goes fast. If I were to sit down with my hard-charging self of old at knowing what I know now, I would have some words of wisdom. I'd say, look, you've got a very incredible life ahead of you. And it's not all roses and rainbows and unicorns. There's some amazing highs and there's some tremendous lows on that journey. But all in all, you have one heck of a journey ahead that could be many movies made from it. So enjoy the journey. And I guess if there's some wisdom I could share is get clear on what you want. Get clear on the experiences you want. Get clear on the experiences you don't want. And act accordingly in the moment to make choices of the only things you can control, which are your thoughts, your words, and your actions that are congruent with what you want, and making choices that are not leading you to what you don't want. Because there's some decisions that you make, even 20 years ago, that you paid a huge price for. Because in the moment, it seemed like a good idea, and it didn't. It wasn't a good idea, right? So if you're congruent with the actions that are leading you towards what you want, and away from what you don't want, but more focused on what you want all the time, it's an amazing journey. Now, even at the times when you weren't passionate about something, you still lead a cool life, but it's when you're clear on this is what you want, this accomplishment, this task, whether it's losing weight, whether it's that person that caught your eye, whether it's that business opportunity that you want, or the results that you want. You set your eye to it, you set your heart to it, and back it up with your actions and stay congruent with your thoughts, your words, and your actions, you get what you want. It's just when you aren't clear and you're leading a life more life pushing you around instead of a life by design, that you're still leading a good life, but you could have that passion, that burning desire, if you really sat down and said, okay, here's where I am, what do I really want? What do I want personally? What do I want professionally? What do I want my health to be? What do I want my relationships to be? What do I want my financial situation to be? And work backwards. Say, okay, if that's what I want, these 4 questions. What would I need to start doing? What would I need to do more of? What would I need to do less of? And what will I need to stop doing altogether if I'm serious about accomplishing that goal? So just some words of wisdom. Semper Fi, Bob. Talis, glad you're able to jump in and witness some of this. I'm really proud of what you're up to and what you're doing at such a young age. your life is ahead of you. And I know you've got some amazing times, which will come with chaos, which will come with adversity, but knowing that in advance, you can still enjoy the journey, knowing you're climbing that mountain. You've set your heart and intent to climb that mountain, and you know, and you're okay with the fact that you're gonna get scarred up. You're gonna have some damage on your knees, damage on your elbows, you'll have some blood drawn, but you're enjoying the journey. And one step at a time, you'll be amazed at how quickly you can ascend that mountain. Get clear on which mountain you want to climb and take steps to get there. All right, so 24 years goes fast. I was Talus's age. He's 19 or 20 right now. I was 24 years ago. I didn't even know I'd make it this far. And who knows, had I chosen to stay in the Marine Corps, who knows, maybe that version of me wouldn't have made it. With all the wars and all the challenges that we've had, leading by example gets you killed, right? You know, and in that line of work, unfortunately, your life is on the line. And I know I make decisions where I will look for the greater good, and I will, if it was me or a friend, it's me. I'm the one that's going to step into that, right? So, man, it's an amazing journey, and I just want you to make the most of it. So, simple words from the beach. 24 years goes by quickly. Get clear on what you want. Enjoy the journey. Believe in yourself. You are good enough. You are worthy. And you are capable of climbing that mountain. Get clear on which mountain you want to climb. And if right now you find yourself on a mountain, you're like, why am I climbing this mountain? I like that mountain. Get off that mountain and go climb that mountain. This life goes fast. All right? So make the most of it. Make today great. I'll talk with you soon. Good speaking and seeing all your comments here. Merging, that's so powerful. Grew my business based on those 4 questions. You're absolutely right. Those 4 questions are super powerful. Here's the year being even better than the last. Absolutely. So, man, those who know, I do consult many well-known people throughout the globe. And if you want to be in my platoon and succeed just like my platoon did 24 years ago, win everything in life, personally and professionally, reach out. I have one-on-one consulting, which isn't for everybody, but I have group consulting, which is game-changing, which is life-changing. So if you want to be on the winning team, hit me up. All right, I'll talk with you soon. Make today great.